All right, this is a lesson on comparing decimals using manipulatives and math strategies. Well, the first thing you have to remember is when you see the word comparing in math, it means the alligator. So it's asking you, is it the problem less than, greater than, or equal to? Okay, so remember that whenever you see this word. I'll just do it. So that is comparing. Comparing means alligator. Okay, so that makes it a little easier. All right, first slide. Okay, compare the two values. Now, this is comparing decimals, and whenever we compare decimals, we like to think of it as money. So the first thing I like to do is I like to write out my place value chart. So I know these are ones, or one whole. Okay, 1/1. This is 1/10, and this is 100. And you notice how I did it. I just have the 1 here, and then I keep adding a 0. Okay, so I have 0 zeros, 1 0, 2 zeros. Same here. This is 1 whole. Then to the denominator, I'm going to add 1 0, and then 2 zeros. Okay, so I have 1 whole, 1/10, 100th. 1 whole, 1/10, 100. Now, this right here is a $2 bill. So I'm going to put a 2 in the ones place, because it's 2 wholes. Then I know that this is a dime, and I know in a dime it takes 10 of these to make $1. So if I wanted to make $1, right now I only have 1 out of the 10. So that's 1 out of the 10. So I'm going to put that here. Okay. And then this one right here, this is, I have 2 wholes, again, same. But I don't have tenths because I know with a penny it takes 100 pennies to make $1. So I have 1 out of 100. So I'm going to put 1 here. Now, so this doesn't slide over, I have to put a placeholder. Now, whenever I'm comparing decimals, I like to make sure that I'm comparing the same thing. This is a tenth and this is 100th, because remember we always go to the last digit and then we look at to see what place it's in. So this is tenths and this ends in hundredths. So I want this one to end in hundredths too. So what I'm going to do is just add a 0, because I know that this means there's nothing here, and 0 also means nothing. Okay, so now it's really easy to compare. I'm going to look here in the ones place. So in the ones place, they both have a 2, same, same. In the tens place, look, this is a 1 and this is a 0. And what's bigger, 1 or 0? Well, we know 1 is bigger. So we know the answer is, since 1 is bigger than 0, we know that we're going to put the greater than sign. Now, you also can look at the amounts. Some people don't do this at all. They just think of money whenever they think of decimals. So they think, oh, this is $2.10. This is $2.01. Obviously, this is bigger. Okay. So let's do the second slide. Now, this is a drawing. This is the same size whole, right? But they don't have the same amount of pieces inside. So this one looks like it's 3 pieces out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's 3 out of 10 pieces. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And I think it's hundredths, so let me just see. I know this was 10, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So I've got 100 here. Now, again, this is in tenths and this is in hundredths. So if we were doing fractions, we'd before we compared, we had to make the denominators the same. They're not the same here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the denominator to 100 by adding 1 0. And whatever I do to the bottom, I do the top. And if you didn't know how to do that, you can check out my video on comparing fractions. Okay, so now I've got this. So I need to compare it as a decimal when I have to write it as a decimal and then compare it as a decimal. So I'm going to do my place value chart. So I know this is 1 whole, and then I'm just going to add a 0 to the denominator and then another 0 to the denominator. So I have no zeros, 1 zeros, 2 zeros, because then it's easy. This is 1 whole, this place is 1/10, this is 100. So 1 whole, 1/10, 100. So now, since I changed these as fractions, it's so easy for me. This is 30 hundredths. So remember, the 0 is going to have to end in the hundredths place. So I put it right here. And if I did it right, the last digit that I see there will be in the hundredths place. 30 hundredths, it is. Now I'm going to do this one. This is 23 hundredths. And the last digit here should end in the hundredths place. Let's see, 23 hundredths, and it does. So now I can compare them. So I'm going to look, there's nothing here. Maybe I should put placeholder here so this doesn't slide. So I'm going to put a placeholder there and a placeholder there. Now I'm going to compare. They both have no holes. Okay, so that's the same. Then I'm going to go here. Oh, wait, these look different. This is 3/10 and this is 2/10. Well, I know that 3 is bigger than 2. So I know that my sign is a greater than sign. Okay, next slide. Now, let's say you don't have a visual. So how do you solve it? Well, I look here, and the first thing I always do whenever I'm doing this, I do my place value chart. So I know this is, this is 4th grade, so there's always 1, 2, 3 places. 1, 2, 3 places. Okay, I know this is before the decimal point, so I know this is 1 whole. I know this place is 1/10. I know this place is 100. Now I'm going to do this one. It's before the decimal point, so it's 1 whole, 1/10, 100. And remember how I do it. No 0 on the denominator, 1 0, 2 zeros in the denominator. Okay. So now I'm again not comparing the same thing. This ends in tens and this ends in hundreds. So what I want to do is I'm just going to add a 0 here. Okay. And now they both end in hundreds. So now I'm going to compare. In the ones place, they both have a 1. Same, same. 10th place, they both have a 3. Same, same. But look, the hundreds place, they're different. This one has a 0 in the hundreds place, and this has a 5. What is bigger, 0 or 5? Well, we know 5 is bigger. So we have our greater than sign. And remember with the alligator always wants to eat the biggest number. So that's why I like the alligator so much, because it always eats the bigger number so you get the direction correct. Okay. Okay, let's compare this one. Right, remember the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write the place value chart. We have 1 whole, 1/10, 100th, and 1,000ths. Now this is beyond the scope of 4th grade math because we only go to hundreds, but I always like to give it a hard example so you kind of understand the pattern. So you'll notice we have no 0, 1 0, 2 0, and 3 0. So this method should help. You should be able to use it in 5th grade also. So I'm going to do this one now. I'm going to do 1 whole, 1/10, and 100th. Now if you look at this one ends in thousandths, and this one ends in hundredths. So I have to add another place and another 0. So I get to, whoops, I'm running out of room, thousandths. Okay, now This has nothing in it here, so I'm just going to put a 0 because that represents nothing. And now, since they both end in thousands, now I can compare the two. So this one has a 0 in the ones place, and so does this, so it's same, same. This has a 0 in the 10th place, but wait, this has a 5 in the 10th place. So I'm just going to circle those because they're different, or put a box around them. And I know that 5 is greater than 0, so I know the alligator I'm going to use is a greater than sign. Okay, next problem. All right, so this is the new problem. Again, the first thing I always do is do the place value chart, 1 whole, 1/10. The same over here, 1 whole, 1/10, 1/100. I put that little line there. Okay. Now you'll notice this one ends in tenths, this one ends in hundreds. I can't have that. So I'm going to add another place and another 0. So I have ones, tenths, hundreds, ones, tenths, hundreds. They both, if I add, this means nothing here. A 0 means nothing, so I just added that. Now they both end in the hundreds place. So now I'm going to compare in the ones place. Same, same. In the tenths place, 7's the same, same. In the hundreds place, they're the same. So I know that this problem, I should use the equal to sign. Okay, next problem. Now, this problem here, again, we do the same thing. The ones place, the tenths place, the hundreds place, the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds place. Now they both end in the hundreds place, so I'm good. So now I check. The 2 in the ones place, same, same. The tens place, a 4 in the tens place, same, same. Well, the hundreds place, there's a 9 in the hundreds place here and here. So again, I know these are equal to. Okay. Next problem. Is this one. Okay. Again, I do the place value chart. It makes it so easy for me. I just do this even when I think the problems are easy, just so I get in a pattern. So when I get to a 5th grade problem or a 6th grade problem, I'll have memorized the pattern. And I won't make a mistake. So I've got my ones, my tenths, my hundreds, ones, tenths, hundreds. Again, now I compare the ones place. Same, same. So they both have a 0 in the hundreds place. Now I compare the tens place. They look like they're the same. A 1. And now I compare the hundreds place. Wait, this is a 7, but this is a 1. So now I know which is bigger. The 7 is bigger, so I know the sign is going to be a greater than sign. Okay. And the last problem. Okay, you should get the method now. It's pretty easy. Place value chart first. Ones, tenths, hundreds. I do that here. Ones, tenths. Wait a second. That ends in tenths. This one ends in hundreds, so I need to add a hundreds place. Now there's nothing in the hundreds place, so 0 means nothing, so I add it. And now they both end in the same place. So now I can compare the two. The ones place, this has a 0, this has a 4. Wait, that's different. So that was lucky. So what's bigger, 0 or 4? I know 4 is bigger. So I know this is my sign. I hope that helps.